face to Kola. I think once you mention his name or something, he will just maybe unmute his mic.
Okay, so he's online.
Yeah, he's online.
So Kola, can you hear me? 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 Hello. Okay. Yeah, Kola, I can hear you now. Okay, that's good. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me? Onyeka, can you hear me? Kola, can you hear me now? He's talking. Yeah, yeah, but okay, let me just start. Yeah, that's fine. No, no, I'm not doing the presentation. Okay. All right. Um, Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I guess everybody here can hear me clearly, right? If you can't, I see some people still have the blue light on. You need to switch to the red, and then you'll hear me clearly. Okay. Good afternoon. Um, I am excited to be here. My name is Onyeka Akumah, and I want to thank the organizers of Art of Technology in Lagos for organizing this event. I'm going to be your moderator for this breakout session. I'm excited about the opportunity to moderate. I was saying to the organizers, this is my first time moderating. I'm usually seated on the other side and the questions are thrown at me. So I have a very good opportunity here to do this. And I have very good speakers to ask questions from. These are people that I would have asked questions from one-on-one. And I have the opportunity to do this with all of you here. So I hope we have an exciting time as we go through this session. Just a brief intro about myself. I'm Onyeka Akumah, founder and CEO of FarmCrowdy. FarmCrowdy is an agri-tech platform that focuses on connecting small-scale farmers and people in the value chain, about 300,000 of them, with access to finance, technical knowledge, and market access to sell their produce. We've been at it for the past 4 years, and we're quite excited about where we are today. Looking forward to even building up on our success to connecting even more farmers. So I got a notification about this event roughly about 2 weeks ago, and I was quite excited about the synopsis for the event because it's going to allow us, with the speakers who I'll be introducing shortly, to go through some of the very important, I consider them very important topics to discuss, especially in this season, as we get into the Yolitude season. How many of you bought onions recently? And how many of you know the story of onions recently? I see a lot of smiling faces, so I'm sure you understand why that's a very important topic for me. Somebody even had to raise both hands up to show how much importance onions has for us today. And so we will be discussing some very interesting topics around how technology, as it were, affects food production, the entire food value chain, especially in Lagos, starting in Lagos, which is a major city, and then looking at how that is channeled into the country as a whole. So I'm quite excited. I have with me very reputable speakers. The first I'll be introducing is Ms. Abisola Ogunsanya, the Acting Commissioner for Agriculture in Lagos State. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you for honoring us. I also have Mr. Azeez Saheed. He's the founder of FarmKonnect Nigeria. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you for honoring us. And then joining us online is Mr. Kola Masha, who is the founder and CEO of Babban Gona Farms. We can put our hands together for him. I'm sure he's hearing us. And we thank you also, Kola, for joining us online. So, for basic farmers, someone asked me recently, how many farmers do we have in Lagos? I said to them that as much as you want to look at farmers, you want to look extensively and look across the value chain and see who is truly involved in the food value chain. And so one of those important things we've paid attention to, especially even in my organization and with other people that are focused on technology in the agri space. Sorry, do we have another speaker? Oh, okay. One of the things that is interesting is that there are over 22, based on the census we did in 2016, the governor of Lagos State said there are over 20 million people in this state. I don't know if you understand the scope of that. Right now, figures sit between 21 and 22 million people. And I'm sure every one of us in this hall had to eat before coming in here. Or if you've not eaten, you will still eat tonight. 22 million people need to eat on a daily basis. They eat average of twice a day, and they do this 7 days in a week. It's non-stop. As much as we say health is important, it's not every time you find yourself in the hospital. We pray not to be in that situation. But you will not say you pray not to eat. It shows how important topics like this is for our sector. Now, if you look at Lagos State, one of the things that we've had to struggle with is how much data of farmers do we have in this state? How much data do we have of people in Lagos that are involved in the food value chain? We've talked about digitizing the agriculture value chain, and we're going to be extensively looking at that, at how we collect, store, and mine data. We're also going to be looking at strategies to attract investment into the food value chain within the state. And because we have also the commissioner, the acting commissioner for Agri in the state, we'll be delving deep into what the state is looking at doing as it concerns the food value chain, protecting our food security, boosting technology within the state to get us to a place where we find ourselves food sufficient within this particular geographic location. We'll also be talking, looking at other players in the sector beyond myself, at what the likes of Babban Gona is doing and what FarmKonnect is doing. And so I just wanted to get your minds prepared for this, because as we dive through the questions that we've had prepared, I'm not usually a fan of sending questions before time, so that everybody is free to speak and address the questions as it is natural to you, so that we get it real here. And so I hope we're excited about this session. I am, and I look forward to it. So I'll be starting first, though, with some intros. I'll allow each of my speakers or my panelists to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about what they're doing before we get deep into the questions. So I'll go from the way I introduce them. I will start with Ms. Abisola, who will just talk a bit about what she's doing in the state before we get to the questions afterwards. So I'll deal with Ms. Abisola, then I get to Mr. Azeez, then I get to Kola Masha. They introduce their businesses. When we're done with that, I get into my own questions that I've written down. And then when we're done with that, I will open up the floor for us to ask questions, and then we hope to have a good time. All right? So thanks for joining us again. Ms. Abisola, I'll be starting with you. You can just do an intro to the team. No, you don't have to stand. So you don't have to stand.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Abisola Ogunsanya, recently confirmed Commissioner Agriculture, Lagos State. Thank you. Before my foray into the Lagos State government, which was last year, August 19th, 2019, I worked with Oluwole International based out of Ghana. I was there for about 8 years all know, Olam is one of the world's largest supply chain management companies. I was specifically in the rice and sugar division, and in terms of what I did there, I essentially controlled the distribution sales of, we're talking of, let's say, over 120,000 metric tons of rice sales alone and over 50,000 metric tons of sugar sales across Ghana. And with regards to supply chain management, it's essentially a function of supply and demand and trying to meet up with the requests or the desires of the people. Back here in Lagos, having been in the Ministry of Agriculture, I would say in the last 1 year and roughly 3 or 4 months that we have been under the administration of Mr. Babban, we've done quite a bit, and recently we just concluded our 5-year master plan for agriculture in Lagos State. We know Lagos State is a food. Lagos State, in terms of the food security status, is actually very vulnerable. Like Onyeka rightly said, we are actually well over 22 million people, trust me. And with regards to the influx of people every single day into Lagos, you can tell that the numbers are swelling, and I mean, it's just a matter of time before probably we hit 30 million. That is if we haven't, because we know that there are a lot of people in Lagos without data, without any form of identity. So we know that we are well beyond the 22 million number. But if you also look at Lagos State in terms of geographical size, we are just 0.4% of land mass of Nigeria, and yet we are harboring well over 10% of the population. So it puts a lot of stress and strain on our economy, on our land, and it means in terms of food security, we are extremely vulnerable. We saw just a snippet of that during the lockdown from the month of end of March till roughly about May, June, and we could see the impact of what the absence of food could do to our security as a people. So with all of that, we had to re-strategize, we had to look inwards again to see what we could do as Lagos. We say Lagos is not really an agrarian state, but if you look at the crest of Lagos State, you see a fisherman throwing the net into the sea. So what we are looking at is areas where we have the strength, and fisheries, aquaculture is actually one of those areas. So going forward, we are targeting specific value chains where we harness, put all the efforts, put all the energy, put all the investments in, such that we begin to see the impact, not just on a small scale, but on a very large and commercial scale, and then we move on to other value chains as at when we see that, yes, the impact of what we've done in one can translate to others. So economies of scale is what we want to build upon. And since this is just an intro, I believe that when we delve further into the discussions, I'll be able to expatiate more. I wouldn't want to take away the time.
No, that's fine.
From the next
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, to Mr. Azeez, please, your introduction.
Okay, thank you very much. Azeez Oluwole Saheed. I'm the CEO of FarmKonnect Nigeria. I actually founded the company in 2017. I registered it in 2017. But I've been in agriculture since I was a kid. I started agriculture as young as 10 years. Actually, I started running an aquaculture farm at the age of 11. And of course, sometime when I was around 17, I decided to join the military because the future for my tertiary education was very blurry. So I had to go to the Nigerian Defense Academy. And I served in the Nigerian Armed Forces for 17 years, and I retired in 2018. And in those, thank you very much. And during those 17 years, on the 15th year, my wife and I started FarmKonnect as a project. I had a hobby in agriculture. It's just my life. So based on that, we were talking, oh, let's make it something really that can give us additional income. I mean, soldier money, they enough, that's kind of. So as we're thinking about as we're doing that, people were getting more interested. We're getting better results. And I think this shouldn't be a hobby. It shouldn't be a side hustle. It should become a business. So we wanted to launch out sometimes late 2015 because I've been doing crowdfunding since 2008 with my colleagues. We would contribute money, and then we go into agriculture, we go into stocks, different things. So I wanted to officialize it, and of course I was restricted by the regulations of the armed forces because you don't have monetary transactions with your colleagues or with civilians. So we started with my colleagues, and somehow in 2016 it was becoming strong. But I looked into the future that one of the greatest thing you could do in agricultural value chain is to use crowd funds to, to expand the productivity of agriculture. But I envisage that that may not last beyond 2021. So we put a lot of work together and we said, oh, okay, what were the risks? It's going to be abused. People are going to come in there, they're going to expand it, they're going to make investors get scared, and then people don't want to put money in there anymore. So we needed to change our business model. And by the time we're launching out, I want to give a big credit to Mr. Onyeka for being so courageous and bold to spearhead that part of the industry of crowdfunding. Is one of the, every time I had the opportunity to talk about it, it's one of the persons I respect a lot. It takes a lot of courage to break the ice. And, I said, wow. So that day I remember I was in my office working and someone came say, okay, look, wait till they do this. See, FarmCrowdy. I said, wow, that's great. So I looked at it and I retracted for 2 years to restructure my business. I didn't want to be your copy. I like the way you're brilliant and I didn't want to be you in another form. I wanted to be me, So I retracted for 2 years to start what I call agricultural real estate because the first in Africa. And it took a lot of work, it took a lot of researching, a lot of thinking, a lot of sleepless night. I grew wicked during the time, So I wanted to know, okay, how do I change the agricultural space? We need to do agriculture on a scale that is not small. Small-scale agriculture may make you as an individual feed. You may make little money, but when you do agricultural real estate, you're going to feed generation, you're going to create money, you're going to create a lot of opportunity. So we started out that way. Now, with that, I've been able to, on 11th of January 2020, I will be launching the biggest snail farm in Nigeria. But I don't want to stop there. It's going to be the biggest in Africa. That's the master plan in another 3 years. Having the capacity to produce over 182 tons of snail per annum. I don't think anybody's doing that. On the 4th of August 2020, we inaugurated our Wave City project, the first of its kind, using our technology controlled farming environment, because the key thing in agriculture is sustainability. It's not about going to the farm and doing the things people are doing. If you put $1 billion in that, it's going to sink. So you have to do something that helps you to protect people's money. You want to protect the sector, and you want to make sure it's sustainable. So we did that, and of course, in the next 4 weeks, we should be opening the biggest and the first, let me not say the first, but the biggest NFT hydroponic on Nigerian soil. So I designed all of this, and we're going to be running it. So August 2020, my friend there is from Jordan. He's into commodity. And then we're looking at the data and the transaction. We envisage that by January next year, there will be gross scarcity of onion. It eats us faster. Perhaps our data was not accurate, but it was working faster. So we started working on planting of onion. We had to do 6,000 hectares of onion over 3 years. Currently, as I'm talking to you, all the things for the onion production, it should be arriving again in 1 or 2 weeks. Irrigated farm, no stocking, no nothing. So I was surprised when onion scarcity hit us 2 months earlier. I said, Tariq, you're a madman. He said, no, I'm not mad. I just saw the future. So we are into that. And of course, I was in an event in 2017, and with a guy, an Indian guy, owns the biggest irrigated plantation for tomatoes in West Africa. He sends 2 trucks from Benin Republic to Lagos every week. 857 million naira market. Africans, we here, we are suffering. I said, no, it's not going to happen. We're going to be starting by January, 160. I just want to use 10 hectares to pass it cost. 160 hectares of irrigated, full irrigated tomatoes, so that we can plant all year round. Okay, just 2 more points and I'll be through.
Okay.
How do you get people involved in agriculture without going to the grassroots? Agriculture is not for bling, bling, blang, blang. I'm not, I'm privileged. I grew up in a farm, and being a soldier, I've been humiliated. So it's not about class. It's about getting people to, getting food on the table, and letting people become aware of what is happening in the agricultural sector. And what do I do about that? We need to bring agricultural investment and opportunity to people on the grassroots, not just people who have the billions of dollars. So we are launching our fight already. We are permitted almost everywhere in Lagos. Working with the people, we did about 2 years research on it. We test ran it in the Babban, and we had 97 retainership. How do we help small people, traders, to get into agriculture?
Azeez,
Thank you very much.
I know if I let you, I remember when I met you in Dubai and Ghana, you will keep us here excited, and then we'll be done with this panel. And so I really appreciate the work you're doing. I have a lot of questions.
Oh, okay,
You didn't touch on some of the things I'm going to ask you. So
Okay.
I think it's good, so I get more insights on them over time.
I like that. Thank
Please
you very much.
appreciate Azeez, Mr. Azeez. And over to Mr. Kola Masha, who is the CEO and founder of Babban Gona. Kola, if you can hear us, you can now mute your mic. Unmute your mic, please, and we can hear you. Kola, can you hear us? If you can, you need to unmute your mic because we can see it's still muted. Okay. If so, I will depend on someone else engaging with Kola so that he can unmute his mic. Once he does that, he will do his own introduction. Let me get into some of the questions that I have already. So, Mr. Abisola, I think one of the things that happened to us this year is the COVID pandemic. It's never going to, I think for our generation, we won't forget 2020. As much as we want to strike it out of the calendar here in our history. But it's something that affected a lot of states. And I know it had serious impact in Lagos. For us in FarmCrowdy, we got to a point where our staff couldn't get to the market to buy food because of the restrictions. We got some license to be able to move food items at some point, and that allowed us to launch FarmCrowdy Foods to start distributing food items. But I think one of the things we kept on hearing was how much effect it had on the health sector. Can you please share with us some insight on how much did it really affect agriculture in Lagos State? Because we've not heard much about that, that's one. And two, what has the state done? I know you've done a lot of work already, but maybe it's a good time to highlight some of the things the state did during the pandemic that we can learn from to manage a future where if something like this come again, God forbid, we'll be able to handle it then. Yeah.
Thank you for that question. Like you rightly said, I think a lot of the rhetoric around COVID-19 was more centered on the health sector, but with regards to agriculture, it actually affected a lot of our producers. If you look at the poultry sector, for instance, they had what you call the egg glut, meaning they could produce eggs in large quantities, but they didn't have off-takers. So you ended up having them bury the eggs because they couldn't get the eggs to the market. Even if they could get it to the market, you didn't have people coming out to buy the eggs. So there were issues. Then you look at, let's say, the pig farmers, the Okiaro pig farmers, for instance. Apart from COVID-19, they had the swine fever as well, which wiped out almost all the livestock they had at their estates. If you look at the fish farmers as well, obviously due to the ban on importation of certain items that comprises of their feed, and then the feed prices went up. They also had issues with regard to fish feed in terms of pricing, in terms of quality. And then when you look at the cattle, red meat industry, for instance. So here in Lagos, with regards to cattle, we don't red cattle. All we do is just get ability, you have the capacity to begin to push back to say this is how I want things for these people, or this is how I want things to be standardized for these people. Also, you can begin to set pricing, you can begin to set the quality, the standards that you want, which is what we really need to have, and which is where we need to begin to organize the market. So these are some of the things that we've worked on.
Yeah. One quick follow-up on that is, how does technology, because I mean, we're in the Art of Technology conference, how does technology play a key role in achieving some of these goals that you're looking at achieving, I mean, getting in place? How do you see this playing a key role in...
how technology plays a key role. Actually, technology is the only thing that can bring a solution to the problems we have. For you to capture data, technology is required. We've passed the age of having a book and a paper or pen and having to capture data. We are talking of a marketplace of over 22 million people. How do you capture the data in such a way that it's fast, it's accurate, and you can begin to proffer the right solutions? What we have found most times is the interventions we have given in the past, they have been wasted, in the sense that to capture the impact of these interventions has been very limited, such that you do not have enough analysis done to be able to find better solutions for the future. What that also means is that if you cannot proffer the right solutions, you keep solving the problems, or even if you're solving the right problems, you are not solving them in the right quantum. Technology is very important, and it's fortunate that at least Onyeka and I, we still met even last week to have a discussion around digitization of our producers. But what I had rightly said was, see, it's not about the producers for Lagos. What we should be focused on is how to capture our market men and women, such that we begin to see that, okay, if I'm a tomato seller, or if we are all a community of tomato sellers, then we should be able to say this is how much tomato we need in Lagos. And we should be able to drive back to the point of origination to say this is the quantity of tomato we need. We can begin to set the prices, we can begin to set the quality we need, such that in the end, the net effect is that there is less wastage, there's less post-harvest loss, we have the right quantity at the right price, and we're able to sell to the right market. So these are some of the things that the technology around capturing data, to be able to analyze the data effectively, would actually do to help in resolving a lot of the issues in Lagos.
All right, thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for her. Quick question. I don't know if Kola Masha is now online. It's not yet. Not yet. Okay. So, Mr. Azeez, I know that in November, on November 2nd, so first, before I even get into the tech, which is technology, in the Nigerian FarmCrowdy as a technology platform looking at how to connect farmers with funding, and we use the crowdfunding model as one. In the food value chain, anyone that uses technology to enable center. That's one. Two is, many of the solutions come up yourself, build on your own. A phenomenal entrepreneurial skill for an individual like you to be able to see opportunities and build on them and create solutions that create value for millions of people, right? So I want you to tell us, when you the first electronic agric extension precision farming in Africa, tell us how it is identified
with the FIGEX. We call it FIGEX, FarmKonnect Agricultural Electronic Extension Service. Now, we first look at what we're doing. we are building 100,000 square meters of snail farm, which is going to be very gigantic. We have over 20,000 hectares of land to ourselves to manage. There's no how you want to manage such gigantic agricultural project by sitting in the office and assuming or waiting on weather or something. You need to be more precise. You need to understand, you need to speak to your plants, you need to speak to your land, you need to speak to the weather. And what helps you? Understanding them, feeling the pulse that come from them. Okay, so we started. The reason why I took the step to do many of these things is because, without prejudice to the government, I don't like attacking government, is bureaucracy. You want this, it's going to be a lot of English. And again, nobody really finance ideas here. They want to see little thing and expand it. When I started in Osun State, the Osun State government could really relate with me. When I started with Ekiti State, the government talked to me, not me. I'd never run after any government. I'd never, and I'm not going to ever do it. So if the government sees what is in me, that I do it, but what makes it, I have to do it. So that's the reason I began to take the step to do the things, and not just for the solution for all the farmers alone. Of course, to first of all make my value chain succeed, make my ecosystem stable, then I can extend that to all the farmers because I'm doing something really big and I need to have control. So what is FAGET? FAGET is going to use electro-optic system, satellite imagery, on-site sensors, and all of this, fuse them, and help farmers to take actionable, informed decision so that they know what they are doing. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Azeez, so I was just informed that... No, it's not the noise. I was just informed that we need to wrap up in 3 minutes. So, or in a minute. Okay. And so, unfortunately, we have to wrap up very quickly. So, what you do, talk about how you identify the opportunities in the tech space quickly, because I want people to hear that.
Okay, there's just one thing I'm going to talk about, the tomato value chain. The first time I wanted to start with tomatoes, someone met me and said, where will you sell tomato? It spoils. I said, no problem. We spent 2.5 years. We deploy people, we deploy data collection system to analyze people's behavior along some certain demographics in our catchment area. We identify and we assume just 5% of people consume tomato. We unveiled a 109 billion per annum market on tomato value chain alone. It's informed one of the reason we're investing over 10 billion naira on greenhouse technology, because we don't want that tomato to be something we plant and it gets spoiled again. And we don't want the one that we have to wait on rain.
Yes.
So we started a controlled farming environment technology. And apart from that, we have our cold store. We're building several cold stores, network of cold stores and cold vans and all this. And then we've been able to touch into the market. Like I mentioned, my people are almost in every market in the Southwest now, trying to inform people and get information as to what they want. And we pull that, we look at the numbers, and then we decide.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sorry,
Okay,
I
please.
wanted to quickly add something. So, you know, when he mentioned something about I don't talk to government because of bureaucracy, I looked at him and we started laughing because a meeting we had last week, I told him, I'm tired of the talk. We talk too much. We don't act. All we do is we speak English, but enough is enough. So that is a valid point that he made. We in government, we need to stop talking and we need to start acting. The second thing he mentioned was around how did he identify the opportunities. And I think it's also a failure on the part of the government not to be able to show people where the opportunities truly abound. If we were to do our job the way we are supposed to do our jobs, we should enable people to see the investment opportunities in agriculture, and trust me, they are vast. Agriculture is that one sector that keeps giving and will continue to keep giving till Jesus returns, because in every value chain you have multiple stakeholder levels, you have multiple opportunities that are there. So the thing is for us as a government to begin to show people that there is value in this, there is an opportunity in this sector, and then to be able to create that enabling environment. Sorry for the cliche again, we always use that word enabling environment, but really do we enable? But it is our job going forward to make sure that we enable people to be able to tap into these opportunities. So in as much as they are able to identify those opportunities, the onus still lies on us as a government to also be able to show people that there are gaps in our systems, but we need the private sector and we need the collaboration of good people of Lagos and beyond to partner with us to ensure that these opportunities are well harnessed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was about this, and so I will be engaged. Looking for those platforms where we can talk more about this, especially hearing from people that are right there on the ground and less talking, and people that are talking less and doing more in the agriculture space. From me, I'm very humbled to have this session with all of you. Thank you very much for having us here. I think the next session is with the Deputy Governor. Oh, sorry, the questions, right? Okay, can we have the questions offline? Oh, we have to move. But Ma, if you have questions, who do you want to direct questions to? To get his contact.
Let me say something.
Okay, so to get your contact quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe Twitter,
okay.
LinkedIn.
You could send me an email on clubwooley, that's CLUBWOOLEY, clubwooley@yahoo.com. Yeah, it's my clubwooley, CLUBWOOLEY. That's my, at yahoo.com, that's my email. And you could try this number, but don't call, just try by WhatsApp, 070-5091-2230. 070-5091-2230. Please don't call, just send WhatsApp text.
If you have questions also, just send me a tweet on Twitter. Right? You say you have 4 questions. We can't take 4 questions. So send me a tweet on Twitter at Onyeka Akumah, and I'll direct it to any of the panelists, including Kola Masha that couldn't attend. If you send me that tweet, I'll direct it to any of the panelists. You put the name of the person you're directing that tweet to, or the question to, at Onyeka Akumah. Onyeka and Akumah is AKUMAH. And then I'll direct, just put the person you want the question to go to, I'll direct it to the person. Thank you very much. You've been a brilliant audience, and we'll truly appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's my car.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Picture.
That's hijacking. I think I have some few cards. I will not be able to talk to you now, please. Please permit me to talk to him, to her.
Wow.
You could
Please,
wait by.
I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry.
I'll give you a chance.
I'm sorry.
Kindly.